We had a lot of action on the diamond today, but one team that didn't play is still the best in baseball.
You are Locked On MLB Crossover, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello, baseball fans. Welcome to Locked On MLB, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. This is the daily podcast. We talk about all of Major League Baseball. I'm your host, Paul Francis Sullivan. Please call me Sully. This episode is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Enter for a chance to win a dream golf trip for two to any golf tournament in the United States. Visit 5hewin.com for full rules on entry. No purchase necessary. Excludes the Masters Tournament. Ends October 31st, 2025. Follow us at Locked On MLB Pods on Twitter or whatever it's called these days, and on Instagram. I'm your pal Sully. I'm at Sully Baseball Podcast on Instagram. I'm also on something called Blue Sky every once in a while at Sully Baseball. But the best way to get a hold of me is right here on the YouTube page. And make sure to leave that hashtag EverydaySully because it helps us find your comments and everything. On today's show, we are going to be talking a little bit about some of the games that were played today. But mainly, we're going to be talking with Chuck Freeman of Locked On Brewers. The Brewers are the best team in baseball. They had the day off today. They're the best team in the game, and they have images of delivering the city of Milwaukee's first World Series championship since 1957 dancing in their head. We're going to be talking a little bit about the strength of their team in segments 2 and 3. Let's take a look at the trivia question. Who was the first pitcher for an expansion team to earn a postseason victory? And for those of you who may not know, the expansion were the teams that were created after the first expansion was 61, were Angels and the New Senators, who became the Rangers. And then you had the Houston Colt 45s, who became the Astros and the Mets. That was the first expansion. And the first expansion team to make the postseason were the New York Mets. So everyone who guessed a Met player was correct. Now, Cubs fan 1908, I know this, my buddy Marcel says, was it Jerry Koosman? He was definitely a Met in 1969. Jerry Koosman was a Met. He did get one of the first ones, but you overthought it because Court Steld got it right. It was Tom Seaver. Love you, Sully. Love you, too. It was Tom Seaver won Game 1 of the 1969 NLCS. It was the first National League Championship Series game ever played. Tom Seaver won that. Jerry Koosman won the first ever World Series game for an expansion team when he won Game 2 of the 1969 World Series. So there you go. That is your trivia question for the day. Lots of wild games. We're at a point now in the series where it's binary. You won or you didn't win. There are no moral victories. There are no ugly losses. There's one exception in today's game of that. But the Mets needed to win, and Mr. McLean won again. Unbelievable. McLean is 4-0. And, Nolan McLean has been the breath of fresh air that the Mets needed. And even though the Mets, they were down 2-1 in the first, and they let up a bunch of runs in the ninth, they won 12-5. They just kicked the tar out of the Tigers' pitching. The Red Sox had a weird game because the Cleveland Guardians only scored in 2 innings. Garrett Crochet on the mound, and for 7 of the 9 innings, Cleveland couldn't score. And one of the innings they scored was on a Jackenzie Noel weird home run. There's been a bunch of weird home runs around the pesky pole. But Crochet let up 3 home runs in the 6th inning and put the Sox behind. But then the Sox came and scored 6 unanswered runs of their own. They won 11-7. They won. That's all that matters. The Mariners lost, and that's all that mattered in a weird back-and-forth game with Tampa Bay. And you also saw the Yankees did what they had to do. There's been a lot of talk about the Yankees can only beat bad teams. When they play a good team, they don't do well. Well, give the Yankees credit. Fried was terrific. Valdez was not. And it was Jazz Chisholm Jr. hit an early home run. Trent Grisham hit a grand slam. And that's basically, and that was almost all the runs that they had. Actually, all the runs were again hit on home runs, 2 by Chisholm, the grand slam by Grisham. So, you say, oh, they're still only hitting home runs. Well, do you know what? They need to win this game. And Fried pitched 7 terrific innings. Valdez got stomped. And the Yankees needed to show they can beat a good team, and they beat the Astros 7-1. Give credit where credit is due. Now, if you are a Toronto Blue Jays fan, you should be thrilled your team won. The Red Sox and Yankees gained no ground. But there is that little bit of worry about the fact that they won because they kicked the tar out of the Reds pitching. The score was 8-6 after 2 innings. This is not a pitcher's duel. The final score was 12-9. Hoffman wound up getting the save, and the Blue Jays wound up getting the win. And yes, it is binary. Yes, they won the game. Yes, they held off the Yankees and the Red Sox. But their pitching staff is still scary. It's still not effective. And if this Blue Jays team wants to go places this year, they've got to pitch better than this. Obviously, the bats are firing on all cylinders right now. But they've got to come up with a solution to their pitching staff, because do you know what? This is the type of thing. Every year there's a team that has a terrific regular season, and everyone forgot they made the postseason because, yikes, they have that kind of a postseason. They had that kind of a playoff because their pitching goes south. If you don't believe me, remember the Orioles. They won 100 some odd games in 2023, and then they had the rug pulled from them. It happens. Remember the Phillies last year with all their great pitching and all their great hitting? They won 1 playoff game, 2 Delu. It can happen. And Blue Jays better get your act together. Now, the Brewers also have images of winning a championship dancing in their head. And Chuck Freeman of Locked On Brewers is going to join me for the final 2 segments to talk about, say it with me, the best team in baseball. Whether you're out on the course or just need a little extra push to power through the day, 5-Hour Energy Transfusion delivers the clubhouse flavor you love without ever leaving the green. Golf is all about good times with good people and good flavors. And the grape ginger lime flavor of 5-Hour Energy Transfusion gives you the best parts of the clubhouse go-to without leaving the course or chasing down the bev cart. Now you can amp up the fun even more. Just buy, snap, and enter for a chance to win a dream golf trip for 2 to any tournament in the United States. Tee up that trip. Visit 5hewin.com for rules and entry. No purchase necessary. Excludes the Masters Tournament. Ends July 31st, 2025. Hey, it's your pal Sully from Locked On MLB. I'm here as promised with Chuck Freeman, the host of Locked On Brewers. And Chuck, you've been on once or twice this season already. Mm-hmm. And this has been, let's just be honest, a really special year in Milwaukee. I know they've had a bunch of postseason appearances, especially since getting to the NLCS in 2018. But holy cow, there's something about this team that just really feels special. And tell me a little bit about what you're feeling as we have Labor Day is in the rearview mirror, and the Brewers are the best team in baseball.
They are, and not only record-wise, but they are the best team in baseball. Mm-hmm. It's been an incredible summer. I mean, even at the games that they lose, Sully, they take it right down to the end. I mean, they could be trailing by a few runs, but they'll take it right down to the end. And a lot of times, if it's a tie game late, go to that FanDuel account, and I say, load up on the Brewers because, man, especially at home, they always seem to find some of that magic. They found some in Toronto this past weekend, but yeah, it's been an unbelievable. This is the best team in Brewers history. Best.
I think so. And not even just based on the record. If you look at the thing that I think is very dangerous about the team in terms of opposing team, other than the fact that they do very well against playoff teams, they do very well against good teams. They've shown that they can play against some of the better teams. The depth of their lineup. It isn't that they have one guy who is absolutely dominating and going to win the MVP and everything like that. It's just that they have an answer at every position. And now with Isaac Collins, as we all bet that Isaac Collins was going to be the rookie of the year this year, right? He was the odds-on favorite, right?
I had him.
Isaac Collins seems to be in the middle of every big rally. Jackson Chourio is back and hitting the ball well. And, you and I had talked about this earlier. I mean, we're going to talk a little bit about the pitching staff in a little bit, but you can't always judge a trade right away. And inevitably what the biggest trade of the year is almost never the trade you expect it to be. But wow, the deal that they made when they said Aaron Civale is a little peeved that he's not in the rotation, so they send him packing to the White Sox. They get back Andrew Vaughn, and really from that moment, that's when the Brewers season really took off. The effect that Vaughn, who has cooled off a little bit, of course, but the effect that he's had on the team, and just that when he came onto the scene, he just exploded and the team exploded. That has to be one of the biggest trades of the year.
And what happened was they brought up Jacob Misiorowski, and Miz got to stop, was going into the rotation, and Civale to the bullpen, and Civale did not want to go to the bullpen. So what happened, they traded him to the White Sox. They saw this kid, Andrew Vaughn, sitting down in the minors, former first-round pick, and said, hey, we'll take that guy right there off your hands if you want to deal him to us. And he's come up. They put him in the farm system at first, at AAA, and then Hoskins got hurt, and now Vaughn has been there ever since. Now, Hoskins is waiting to be activated. He's ready to go, but the Brewers, they like what they got at first base right now. So you might say that he's been Wally pipped.
Yeah, it's funny. I was about to make a Wally Pipp joke myself. By the way, Wally Pipp was a wonderful player. And he always gets the shaft of history. He was a wonderful player, and there's some evidence to show he may have had a concussion. So before anyone says that he got a little sick and he lost his job, he may have had a concussion based upon but that's neither here nor there. Christian Yelich always seems to get a big hit. William Contreras always seems to either get a big hit or make a great play at catcher. Bryce Terang is having a wonderful season at second base. I wonder what I wonder what Willie Adames must be thinking. Whenever you see a team when they had, when you have a player leave and then once they're gone, the team starts to perk up. I mean, a lot of people thought that this was going to be a team that if they got off to a rough start, then maybe, after trading away Devin Williams and after letting Willie Adames go and everything like that, I'm sure there were a lot of people who thought that if this team got off to a rough start, that they would dumping bodies over the side. And instead, they are the year 1957 seems to be popping up in people's heads as the only year the city of Milwaukee had a World Series champion. A team like this is dangerous, as I said, because there is no glaring weakness, and they're not saying, "Oh, you contain, Vaughn, you contain Yelich, and you'll win." No, there'll be someone else to pick it up, and that's the sign of the depth in their lineup, and also, let's be honest, a sign of the fact that Matt Arnold did a good job putting this team together, and Pat Murphy's done a fabulous job helming the team.
Yeah, there's not a weakness. If someone asked me, boy, what's going to hold these guys back as far as making a run? Well, I don't know. They have pretty good starting pitching. They have a pretty good bullpen. They do a lot of things right. They outsmart the other teams. They out hustle teams. They can hit the home run if they have to. They can steal a base. They're great defensive. They got a lot of things going into the direction. Now, the big question is obviously, can they win a postseason game? That's the question in Milwaukee. Can they win a postseason series, which they haven't done since 2018? I think they can. I love this team. They're fun to watch. There's so many guys. You look at this team, and there's not a roster full of all-stars or future Hall of Famers, maybe like the 82 Brewers. But there's awful lot of guys who, like a college team, these guys give it their all, man. These guys are out there and playing their hardest.
I'll tell you something. Right now, you look at all the players there who have double-digit homers. You're not going to have anyone hit 30, or Yelich is probably going to hit 30, but no one's going to hit 40 home runs on this team. All right. But you're going to have a bunch of guys hit between 15 and 20. You're going to have a bunch of guys with double-digit stolen bases. And I'll tell you the comp team that I'm thinking about. When we come back, we'll talk about the we'll talk about the pitching and hopes a little bit more. But the comp team that I'm thinking of is the Royals in the middle of the 2010s. When you looked at that team, when they had Moustakas, they had Hosmer, they had Gordon, they had Lorenzo Cain. You know, they had very good players everywhere. They didn't have a huge superstar anywhere. You know, Salvador Perez, who was probably the closest thing they had to a superstar, but he wasn't yet Salvador Perez. Yeah, I mean, he didn't become that until that postseason. But the thing they did was they forced the other team to be on their heels with their speed, and they didn't make dumb mistakes. They gave you only got 27 outs against them, but you know they will push you to make an error. They'll push you to make a mistake. And the Brewers play really clean baseball. There's an exception here or there, but for the most part, they don't make dumb mistakes. They don't give away outs. And because they go first to third, because they're not just swinging from their heels trying to hit a 5-run homer, but they're playing smart baseball, it forces the other teams. You see it whenever they play good teams. You know, even when they lost that game to Philadelphia the other day, they forced Philadelphia to play their best game basically. And if you make a mistake against this team, they're going to be all over you. And that's why I think, because it's not about containing one player and it's about putting the other team on their heels, I think this team is going to be very dangerous.
Well, that's the thing is some of these teams have come in here and like the Mets and even the Dodgers, I thought, and were a little lax days ago at times. And, you know, and against the Brewers, if you're going at 70% and the Brewers are going at 140%, Brewers are going to boat race a team like that. They take advantage of every mistake, most every mistake a team makes. And you make a mistake, you walk a leadoff hitter, and these guys are so good at drawing walks and working a count. You walk them, you will pay. You walk a leadoff hitter with these guys, they will make you pay. And the Brewers are so good at doing that.
All right, when we come back, I want to take a little bit of a look at their pitching staff and get some thoughts, because it's not a question of if they're going to be playing in October, but the question is, how deep in October are they going to go? I love going to baseball games. I've been to games this year at Dodger Stadium. I went to a game at Sutter Health Park in Sacramento. I've been to games at the AT&T Park, or whatever. It's Oracle Park now in San Francisco. I can't remember. It's a beautiful parking. And I assume you've been to your share of Brewers games this year, right?
Oh, man. More than I can count. Probably 2/3 of them this year, I'd say.
Well, let me tell you, when I use Game Time, it takes the tough part out of buying the tickets out of the equation, and it's just all fun. It's the app that gives the advantage back to the fans. Game Time is fast, easy, and backed by the Game Time guarantee, where you always get 100% authentic tickets delivered on time at the best price, plus all fees are included. So the price you see is the price you pay. And let me tell you something, fees are included, and that's perfect. I love the zone deals. You pick a section. I have the section that I like to sit in. I like to sit not in the upper deck, not in the lower deck. I like to sit in the second deck and a little bit up the first base line. I get a great view of it, and especially if you're in San Francisco, you get that great view of the bay and the great view of the game. And it's faster, cheaper, and less stressful than any other way I bought tickets. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go! Download Game Time today. So, Chuck, one of the things that I have brought up with the team, and I'm enthusiastic about this team, especially because I see there are cracks in the Dodgers' armor. There are cracks in Philadelphia's armor. There are cracks, although Philadelphia has shown me a lot by rebounding after the Wheeler injury. But there are cracks in LA's armor. There are cracks in the Mets' armor. There are cracks in the Cubs' armor. This is the most complete team in there.
Padres.
And the Padres, there's cracks in the Padres' armor. They are capping Misiorowski's innings. I've been saying they should be using him to pitch the final 3 innings every 5 games if they want to do that. But right now, Freddie Peralta's a legit number 1 right now, and he's having a fabulous season. Jose Quintana, Quinn Priester. Tell me how and tell me how you would arrange the starting rotation and how you would use Misiorowski in a short series. And by the way, also big kudos to Abner Uribe, even though he didn't pitch well against Philadelphia, although the Brewers got hosed with a check swing call. He's done a pretty good job stepping up. 25-year-old kid stepping up in Milwaukee's bullpen.
The rotation, you got Peralta at the top, you got Woodruff. I would use Misiorowski in middle relief. For a game 3 starter, you got Priester, probably. And then if you need a 4th starter, I would say DL Hall, followed by Misiorowski. And I'd like to use an opener for Misiorowski.
Okay. Yeah.
Pitch somebody, have Misiorowski come in next, maybe DL Hall, if he comes off the injured list and he's good to go, or Ashby or someone like that, and put Misiorowski in the middle innings and then let him go and see how far you get out of him and then go from there. That's ideally, I think, would be a great way to do it. Have an opener, but definitely Peralta and Woodruff at the top of your rotation. 1, 2. You're solid there.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty solid right there. And what are your biggest fears for the bullpen? I mean, you're going to be handing the ball. Is Uribe basically the closer at this point?
Well, McGill is on the injured list. He's coming.
Yeah,
he comes back from that flexor injury, and when he comes back, he's the guy. And then you drop Uribe back to the 8th inning spot. But the bullpen, there's so many different options there. But those are the 2 main guys, I would say.
Yeah.
I think their bullpen is great. Now the problem is the bullpen has been so taxed. Tuesday was a welcome off day for these guys because the bullpen has been so overused. And this is going way back to April. Right away, this bullpen was overused. So you got that going on. But I think that they're going to be okay in the bullpen. We'll see how they bounce back on Wednesday against the Phillies after Tuesday of having a day off. They played 19 games in 18 days.
So this is definitely a year where just making the playoffs is not enough.
Oh no.
This is a year then, and again, this does remind me of that second year for Kansas City when they surprised everyone as a wild card team, got to within 1 swing of winning the World Series in 2014, but they weren't going to beat Madison Bumgarner. Who are we kidding? But that second year, when they were the best team in the American League, they didn't sneak in. And it became clear that just making the playoffs again was not going to be enough for that KC team because they knew their window of opportunity was right then and there. And they went on and they forced the Mets to play sloppy ball. They forced the Angels, but they were actually the Angels of the previous year. They forced the Mets. They beat Houston. That's right. They beat Houston, then Toronto, and then they beat the Mets, and the Mets played super sloppy. But yeah, that was a team that was like, no, we have to, this is our year to win it all. Of the National League teams, I know the team that if I were a Brewer fan, I'd be most scared of. But what National League team do you think is the one that makes you go, okay, yikes, here we go?
Well, you always have to fear the Dodgers, but something's missing out of there. The Brewers are 6-0 against the Dodgers this year.
Yeah.
San Diego, I feel like San Diego's got a little complacency in them. Okay. The Mets, definitely an entitled attitude with the Mets. You never know what you're going to get with the Mets. I mean, they can go out and rout the Tigers, and then they can sleepwalk for the next 3 days. The Cubs, Craig Counsell, same thing. They have the sleepwalking syndrome. They can fall asleep during a game and wake up and not get another hit for the next 5 innings. I would say the team, though, probably the Dodgers. I would say because the Dodgers got the winning pedigree. They know what they've been there and done that before. The Brewers have played them with none of these guys on the roster except for Freddie back in 2018 in the NLCS. But honest, I don't think the Brewers, some of these teams may have more star power, like the Phillies, who came back and beat them on Monday.
Yeah.
I don't think this team fears anybody. I mean, they're great against. They're like 15-3 against first place teams this year.
Well, that's
Honestly,
the thing about them, that 15-3 against first place teams
Yep.
is one of the reasons why I'm a believer in this Brewers team.
Oh,
And I
sure.
do think they're going to win the pennant.
Yep.
I do.
I do think so. I think they're the best team in baseball. As you know, you got to play your best baseball in October.
Right.
You could get to October and stub your toe, which this team has done. I don't see this team doing that. I don't see them having a letdown. I could see them going on and making a deep run. There's a reason why they're 30-plus games over the 500 mark, because they are that good, Sully.
I agree with you. I do. And if I were betting right now, I would bet them to win the National League pennant. I would be afraid of Philadelphia. I think they have the type of offense that a Harper, a Schwarber, a Turner could just go on a rampage in a short series. I think Sanchez is a really good pitcher. I think Luzardo can be a very good pitcher. If Wheeler was healthy, I would say I would still be picking the Phillies to go to the pennant.
What about Walker? Walker's not any good.
No, but I'm saying that I think that Jenga piece of Wheeler, if they had Wheeler, Sanchez, and Luzardo 1, 2, 3, and then some Suarez, Walker, Nola combination, they're taking a flyer on Walker, Buehler, like some. If Wheeler was there, I would still be picking them to win the pennant.
Okay.
And I think remove him. I think the NLCS is going to be Philadelphia and Milwaukee, and I think it should be a good series. But I think the depth that Milwaukee has is their best quality, and that's why I would pick them. And I wouldn't. And I have no idea what's coming. The American League is so weird. I have no idea what to make of the American League.
I look at American. I saw Toronto this past weekend, and I look and I'm like,
yeah,
that's the best you got over there.
Yeah,
no.
I could make their bullpen right now.
Yeah. I mean, that's
they won today because they clobbered Cincinnati.
I did, yeah, absolutely. But I saw them against the Brewers, and I'm like, I heard last week, the Blue Jays are good. They're just like the Brewers. They could do a lot of different things. They play smart and all that. They won on Sunday because the Brewers did not play a very good game. But I mean, the Brewers won the first two games of the series.
Yeah.
And I look at this. That's the best team in the American League East. I don't think the American League is not as great as it
it's not. It's not. And the National League is very top heavy. And right now, I think the Dodgers starting staff is very vulnerable.
Yeah. No, I agree.
I think removing Wheeler from the Phillies rotation takes away their best weapon. Although they do have an explosive offense. I mean, they have the guys who could go on that rampage, but I like the way the Brewers are set up. So, and I'm not just saying that because you're on the show, because as anyone who's seen me be guest in some shows, I will throw some forearm shivers. So
yeah, no, Sully, this is a great team, and they gotta bust the door down and win a playoff series this year. They can't do what they've done in recent years. People are excited about this team. For the first time in a long time, people are talking more about the Brewers than they are about the Green Bay Packers. The Packers play the Lions on Sunday. This state is all about the Milwaukee Brewers right now. I've never seen it like that way.
Chuck, where can people listen to your show?
Google, Spotify, Apple, Locked On Brewers on all the podcasts out there. We're the #1 Brewers podcast on the internet. Of course, go to our YouTube page, search Locked On Brewers, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell. As always, Sully, appreciate talking Brewers baseball with you.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And by the way, got another big moment on Locked On. College football fans, Locked On and Fire TV present the College Football Kickoff, your ultimate college football weekly preview. Drake Toll of Locked On Big 12 leads the talk with two-time AP Coach of the Year Gary Patterson, former college star Jesse Holley, and Locked On's local expert. A college football preview only Locked On can do. Catch college football kickoff every Thursday throughout the season on Fire TV. And quickly, let's get to the trivia question. Okay, I did the who won the first postseason game for an expansion team. Let's flip it and do the other league. Who was the first pitcher for an American League expansion team to earn a postseason victory? Don't give us the answer, Chuck. That's for everyone watching it to go. So put your answer right down there on the YouTube page. Talking about the Yankees showing up, the Red Sox winning a game where, well, they had to find a way to win it. And talking Brewers with Chuck Freeman of the Locked On Brewers show, the team that, don't talk to me about the big market clubs, the best team in baseball plays in Milwaukee. This has been a Locked On MLB, Locked On Brewers crossover. He's Chuck Freeman. I'm your pal, Paul Francis Sullivan. Please call me Sully.
Good stuff.